Hello. So looking here at Deep Forest CDs that I've bought over the years, secondhand. See there, this one was 50 cents. 50 cents. I don't remember how much those two were. Wouldn't have been more than $1 because I wouldn't pay more than $1 for a Deep Forest album. Not the kind of band that I go out of my way to find, but yeah, they got some music. It's not that bad. I guess they're what we would call world music, new agey world music. I saw them written, described as ethno-introspective ambient world music, whatever that means. Um, this was their first album. This was, I think, 92. Can't actually read. World Mix. I think it actually has two album cover arts, because I've seen another one before, same album, but this one's pretty beat up. This version I've got here, this is all the teeth are broken there. I almost never check the condition of the disc itself when I buy it secondhand, because you're taking a gamble. For 50 cents for $1 or whatever. You're not, you've got to accept they're not going to be in perfect condition, but they often are if condition is fine. So they're almost always playable. I think I can think of like a one or two times where it's been so beat up that you put it into the player and it's just skipping all over like a mess, but almost never. So this one here was, I think, was their biggest album, their first one. The second song there, Sweet Lullaby, that would be the one that most people will have heard before. You can see it's got 3 remixes on the same album, 10, 11, 12, the ambient mix, around the world mix. But I think Forest Hymn was also a big one. Well, not a big one, but you've probably heard it before, the last song. That song, Sweet Lullaby, yeah, you've probably heard it on like a commercial, like I think they use it in a shampoo commercial, like Sunsilk or one of those brands. And nowadays you hear the term cultural appropriation a lot, don't you? You hear it talking about some frankly pretty ridiculous things, like eating the food of another country and listening to certain kinds of music. You can be accused of being of appropriating other people's cultures. But these guys, 2 French guys, make up Deep Forest, took the sample of a Solomon Island woman singing a thing like a native lullaby, which had been recorded years before by like a ethnologist or ethnologist, musicologist, anthropologist, whoever. They went to the Solomon Islands and recorded, examples of the music. And these guys came along and took that sample and used it as the main basis of that song. And I'm pretty sure they, well, I certainly know because I've read about it afterwards, and there's actually a YouTube video about the guy going to find the family of the woman who sung it back in like the 70s or the 80s. They never asked permission and they never compensated in any way for the money. I think they sold millions and millions of albums. And like I said, the song was licensed for TV ads and probably movies and stuff like that. So if that's not cultural appropriation, then I don't know what is. But yeah, the second album, I believe, is this one, Boheme, probably Boheme, because it's more based on Eastern European music, and Roma, I guess what we used to know as gypsy music. And again, I remember reading there was some controversy about, they did the same thing. They sampled some kind of ethnic music, and then they didn't compensate the person. I don't know as much about that one, but that one's okay. Quite different from this one. Third album, this one, Deep Forest 3, Comparsa. That's more Spanish, Latin feel. To be honest, haven't listened to that one much at all, and I don't really like what I have listened to. They have more albums than what I have. These aren't all the albums, obviously. They have a lot more. But the fourth one that I have is probably my favorite one that I like the most of their stuff. It's Pacifique, and that's actually a soundtrack of a movie. I assume those guys are the stars. It was a French movie. I've never seen it. Never seen anything of it either. I assume it wasn't commercially successful. But yeah, this is the soundtrack of that movie, and yeah, it's good. I like it. I got this about 3 years ago when I was starting the training process or the licensing process of the job I currently do, and it was quite a long period of study and tests and exams, and I listened to this as background music a lot while I was studying. So it kind of I associated with that time a lot. But even the music by itself, it's for whatever reason I enjoy that album. But again, it's heavily using the styles, samples, and music of Pacific Polynesian culture, which I guess that's their thing. That's their I don't know, their grift. They're still going. The two guys, Eric Moke and Michael Sanchez, French. Michael Sanchez left. He's not in the band, so it's just a one-person band now. He dropped out 2005. Maybe the guilt of stealing various cultures' music got to him. But they still are in operation today. The one guy, Eric, and they are still making albums. So what do we see here? So after Pacific was 2000, they've music detected. Well, then they go into specific deep Brazil, deep India, deep Africa. So they're really doubling down on using the different cultures there. Evo, Devo, Pick Circuits. And then as recently as 2020, so 2 or 3 years ago, Deep Symphonic. They're still making music. Obviously not as big as they were, but still out there. And yeah, certainly the kind of music that you do find a lot in secondhand shops, because this kind of thing was what people would buy. I don't know how you describe it. And in the 90s, people want background music, dinner party music, I guess, or music that made them feel like they were worldly. And this is the kind of thing people would pick up. Not necessarily music fans, but the kind of thing that gets thrown out, taken to the secondhand store to get rid of. So yeah, these things you see around a lot in secondhand stores because not terribly in demand. And yeah, these other ones here are actually in that one's perfect condition. The disc is near perfect, as is this one. That one's a little bit more grubby, but still pretty good condition. This one's in good condition. You can see here these two have got the old style CD case. I'm sure there's a name for that, with the black edging, and whereas these ones, the newer ones, you have the clear edging. All interesting stuff, I'm sure. But yeah, Deep Forest, New Age, not New World, New Age world music. What do they call it? What is that? Introspective, deep ambient, whatever bollocks they use. Yeah, not the worst stuff in the world to be listening to though, if you like that kind of music. Boy.